Alright, magandang gabi po. Welcome to Alpha TV. Good evening, everyone. I am your host for Alpha TV episode number 2 for 2024. And of course, with an objective to making you hashtag significantly better. So magandang gabi, welcome. And please invite your friends and colleagues because we still have a lot of virtual seats that are available in the Zoom room. And we are also live via our official YouTube channel at Aslex PH Academy. And of course, I'm very excited to host this episode number 2 for 2024 because it really is something that is very relevant, especially that most of us are new year would be seeking for greener opportunities, or maybe eyeing for a promotion or a new role inside their organization. So it's really something that would really make sense and it's really highly relevant. So without further ado, first let's thank the our partners for making this Alpha TV episode possible. We have iExcel CIE online CIE review, or iExcel CIE Review Center. They're offering their online CIE review. So if you are a graduate of any Alpha Premium program, then you have an additional 500 pesos discount. So you can visit their Facebook page to know more about this program. We would also like to thank Startup Podcast PH, our official podcast partner. To us, the first Filipino cloud-based analytics platform. You can still get, if not 90, about 30 days free trial. So if you are looking for an alternative data analytics platform for your mainstream applications, so try using TUOS. Okay? And we are now down to the introduction of our keynote speakers. So I have this opportunity and privilege to read her profile to you this evening. So she is a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Industrial Engineering at Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Santo Tomas, Batangas campus. She has an 11 years progressive experience in the fields of operations and manufacturing, information technology and telecommunications, total productivity industrial engineering, Lean Six Sigma methodologies, statistical process control and data analytics, agile methodologies and frameworks, and technical training, coaching, public speaking for workshops. Her wide list of, or long list rather, of certifications include Lean Six Sigma Black Belt, certified Six Sigma Green Belt, certified Agile Scrum Foundations, certified Agile Scrum Master, certified Training Professional, certified Knowledge Management Practitioner, certified Internal Auditor, certified Japanese Language Proficiency Training Level 5, an innovative thinker and culture builder, and versatile in dealing with people. Okay, of course, our subject matter expert, our mentor for Alpha TV second episode for 2024, that will be discussing continuous improvement, project manager of the future, none other than Engineer Kaiselin Valenzuela, operational excellence and transformation senior manager, and one of Alpha's senior consultant. Engineer?
Hi everyone, and good
Yeah, and so I will
evening.
be giving the virtual floor now to Engineer Valenzuela, and I'll be back to moderate the Q&A after her talk. Take it away.
Thank you, Sir Felix. Sharing my screen right now. Let me know if you can already see my screen.
Yes, we do.
All right. Again, happy to meet everyone online right now. I'll be discussing about PM skills or project manager skills in the disruptive times, focusing on defining who will be the project manager of the future. By the way, as a reference, some of the contents of um, the module that I'll be presenting right now are coming from Project Management Institute's Pulse of the Profession in-depth commissioned research conducted by Forrester Consulting. So hopefully that will be a good way for you to reference the facts involved in this module and utilize it as you move forward with looking for a career as a project manager in the future. Before we discuss about what those skills are that defines a project manager of the future, let's define first, what is the future we're talking about? What is 2024 and beyond, right? Because um, in the coming years, organizations will face an unprecedented wave of change. And that will start in 2024, where there will be globalized economy. When we're talking about globalized economy, it means um, not just retaining all of your capital, perhaps, within the country, but moving towards international. It's opening your country or your economy for free trade, for example. Um, this is extending cross borders. That's what we're talking about. So there's a bigger scope of influence, not just within your boundary, but also externally. And 1 to 3 years from now, there will be a generational workforce shift. What do we mean by that? And actually, hindi nga 1 to 3 years from now, it's actually happening right now. When we say generational workforce shift, it's getting a generation succeed another. From Gen Z, Gen Y, the millennials, to the Gen Z, to the Gen Alpha. If you haven't heard of those terms, you can do the necessary research, but I'll just give you an overview. So these millennials are us, our age, those who were born 10, 20 years, 30 years ago. The Gen Z are those born during 2000s, 2010s, and then the Gen Alpha are those 2010 onwards. And within 1 to 3 years, there will be a shift in the behavior, the societal norms, the attitudes because of that generational workforce shift. So it will be a different playing field when it comes to getting project manager professionals in the next 3 years. After that, there will be a war for talent because now, where are we looking at in terms of skills for the working generation? Some, 10-20% of the population right now are gearing towards digitalization, right? Going towards what? Vlogging, digital ads, digital marketing, e-commerce, right? But what are really the skills that the business needs? And in 3 to 4 years, that will be scarce. So there will be a war for talent, and it will be a war between different recruitment firms, different HR resources to really find who will be the right people for that, for what the business needs. And of course, within 5 to 6 years, there will be contingent labor and cognitive roles. When we say contingent labor, now we are gearing towards, people are aiming for regularization in their work. They wanted to have stable jobs. But in 5 to 6 years, it will be more contractual, temporary, what they call that? Some would be open contract employment. So that would happen in 5 to 6 years. So because of the skills, because of the rapid change in the business needs, there won't be, like a permanent role that will be available just for one person. And beyond that would be having change in terms of technologies. And we're seeing the genesis of that still right now, right? Um, we have different types of technologies that have really changed the way people do things. We have e-commerce, right? Online shopping. We have the e-bikes, the online ride sharings, the different ways on how we listen to music right now through somewhat podcasts, Spotify, and whatnot, right? That will happen. That's the future we're talking about. And if you're gearing towards becoming a project manager, what would be the right skill? What would be the right essential handle that you would need to survive and to be hired and pitched as a project manager? So it will still depend on what type of organization will there be and what type of organization will you aim for if you're looking to be a project manager. There are different types of technology adapters because I've mentioned earlier, we're gearing towards looking at the future with a disruptive technology. And it will really be dependent on who are the employers, who are the businesses who will really learn to adapt to those technologies. And these are the five types of adopters that we have. We have the innovators, the early adopters, the early majority, the late majority, and the laggards. If the company that you will choose will be coming from innovators, then there are specific skills that you need for that. But if the company that you're gearing towards are the laggards, who are not just late adopters, but really skeptic whether they wanted to implement something of a new technology or not, then that would require a really different skill. But let's not focus on those laggards. Let's focus on the innovators. The companies who are gearing towards adopting new technology, generative AI, right? Machine learning, what else? Yeah, artificial intelligence and whatnot. So those will be the employers of the future. And those are the people who will look for project managers. So what would they look for if they are the ones who want to innovate? If they are the ones who are looking at adopting different technologies as part of their business strategy? Um, disruption, that's a new normal. And with that disruption, project leaders are essential. And in fact, according to 2017 report by the Institute for the Future and Dell Technologies, 85% of the jobs that will be available by 2023 haven't even been invented yet. But those 15%, we're sure that project leaders are part of that. We won't be ignored. We won't be removed or taken out of the jobs of the future. So if you wanted to be a project manager of the future, then these are the 6 digital age skills that you would need to deliver projects for the businesses, for the organizations. When you're asked which skills are most important in building a truly digital capability for project leaders, these are the answers of those HR professionals in innovator organizations. 1, data science skills, data management, analytics, and big data. Because by that time, especially 2024 onwards, huge data will really be available for everyone. And it's now about identifying whether that data is correct or incorrect, relevant or irrelevant, and analyzing what does the data tells us. And a project manager of the future should know what is the language of the data. What is it telling us? How are we going to organize those data in a specific repository, utilize that, analyze that to address whatever the organization requires or needs right now. Second skill would be an innovative mindset because, as I've mentioned earlier, innovator organizations are those who are open to adopt technologies and they really plan for implementing it across the organization, not just for a specific department, but across the organization. And you, as a project manager, leading different projects in the organization, should have that innovative mindset, open mind, ready to accept the possibilities of change. Not just a simple change, but a disruptive change on the approaches, on the tools, on the strategies that you would need to implement for a specific project. Three, security and privacy knowledge. So, in the future, well, right now, 2024 onwards, security and privacy is really important because, as I mentioned, there will be huge data available for everyone. But which ones can be legally utilized? Which ones can be legally publicized? Which ones are secured and which ones are not? So you as a project manager should know what are those security requirements. How would I make my data secure? Am I um, complying with the privacy requirements of my client, my stakeholders, and the organization? And of course, um, tapping onto that third skill, you should also have the legal and regulatory compliance knowledge. What are those ISOs, right? ISO 9001, 27000, the Information Security Management System, the Quality Management System. What are those cross-border requirements? As I mentioned, we are going towards globalized economy. So if you have some stakeholders, if you have some clients whom you need to talk to, whom you need to collect data from, then you would require knowing what's the requirement in Europe, what's the requirement in America, what's the requirement in Asia, what's the legal compliance needs for those specific organizations, for those specific boundaries. And of course, the fifth skill, your ability to make data-driven decisions. And it will always be not just based on your innate skill, not just based on your specific experiential knowledge, but it will also depend on the tools that are available for you, the approaches that you're going to use to have that ability to make data-driven decisions. It's not just about, okay, I have experienced this one, I have learned, I have implemented, I have handled dozens, if not hundreds of projects already. I know this is the solution. I know this is the decision that we wanted to do. No, it will be based on what are the tools that are appropriate to be used to make that data-driven decisions. Because the data is huge. You can just, look at that data through an Excel file or whatnot and come up readily with a solution, right? And then, of course, the skill number 6 would be their collaborative leadership. We're going global. We're talking about different generations. We are talking about different people with different skill sets and perspective. So as a project manager, leading and being the middleman for both the stakeholders, the developers, the clients, we should be able to know how to collaborate. And not just to collaborate, but to lead them to a specific action, to a specific delivery result that's expected from the team. So these top 6 digital skills for project delivery are the ones a project manager of the future should have. Of course, you won't have it innately. You have to learn about it. And as project leaders, taking on expansive roles, we need training and skills. We need to develop that amongst ourselves. And these are the ones whom you should be focusing on. Innovator organizations are responding with formal processes, of course, for developing those competencies. Some some organizations provide those trainings in-house or external, but I would suggest if you want to become a project manager of the future, don't wait for you to be hired by an organization who offers such trainings or such developmental um, glide path for you. Right now, as you learn that these are the skills of the future, it will be good for you to acquire those skills immediately. Because learning and development is priority. Not, I don't usually call it training and development because not everything can be taken from just a training. You can have different ways to learn. So L&D should be a priority. These are the um, competencies that you should have, like as I mentioned earlier, the security and privacy, data science, collaborative leadership, innovative mindset. And of course, one important thing as well is have a business acumen. If you're targeting for an organization that is related to technology, related to digital sales marketing, a BPO company, a service industry in general, or if you're targeting a manufacturing industry, semiconductor electronics, um, microelectronics company, or a food manufacturing company, then you should have that business acumen. You should learn what are those basic skills, basic knowledge that you should know if you will be part of that organization. Um, some HR or human resources were asked, what are the tools and approaches that work for a project manager in your organization? And innovator organization still has spreadsheet as number one top tools and approach that work currently, but it will eventually be um, changed as we move forward to that beyond years. Traditional project management tools, we have the Microsoft Project, Portfolio Management, Accolade. Some people use Rike. We have some collaboration platforms, the IBM, Watson Workplace, Slack, etc. These are some tools as well, the Agile Planning tools, Atlassian, CollabNet, version 1. We have collaboration, work management tools, Smartsheet, Trello. There are other tools as well. And then some would say some organizations, there are 4% of the innovator organizations who are not using these tools. So where will you go from? Going with the flow where the majority of project managers or the majority of organizations are using or utilizing right now, such as these? Or are you going to discover new tools that would be effective, that would not require licensing? Because licensing costs us a lot, right? That can be freeware and that can be safe and secured. So it will be up to you as a project manager of the future. What are the tools and approaches that will work for you with your style as a project manager? As John Daly said, what we're delivering to the customer has to evolve and change. And that requires different focus for project managers. When you look for digitization, of course, it will always impact technology and solutions. So it's a key for us to know what's the right tool we're going to use. It should be more collaborative solutions and more immersive solutions. Now, these are some approaches that are utilized by project leaders to move forward each project from start of discovery, putting the team together until you deliver the results. So green ones are those that are currently being used, and the yellow-green ones are those that are being considered right now. which will eventually erase those green items. So, lean agile practices, 47% are currently using it, and 22% are considering to use those. So hopefully in the next years, all of these are green. Because what organizations want are fast and systematic way of leading, completing, and executing projects. 46% are utilizing Scrum, which is closely related to Agile. So Agile is your methodology, your framework is Scrum. But lean Agile practices is you have the Agile approach, but your framework can be DMAIC, the Lean Six Sigma, or DMADV, the FSS, right? We still have 45% using waterfall, 39% using Kanban, especially for those in the manufacturing industry. 25% are gearing towards design thinking. They've already started gearing towards that, especially for product development, looking at changing the way to do things. So design thinking is a good approach to use if you want to design not just a product but also a service. Your disciplined agile delivery, and then development operations or DevOps, which is more technical in a sense. So these are those approaches that are utilized by project leaders. Now, how do we cultivate a future project manager? How will you become a project manager of the future with the right digital era skill? Because we're on the digital era right now. 3 keys. You should have those skills, training, and development. You should know what are the tools and approaches appropriate to be utilized for a specific project. And of course, you should build that future culture as an innovator, ready to, have an open mind to adopt a new technology, or at least learn, analyze, and weigh whether a specific technology or a specific methodology framework can be utilized or not. Because disruption, as we have right now, is not a threat because it's an opportunity, right? And what are the roles of a future-focused project manager? Being a project manager in an organization, you can have, or you can either be one of these 3 roles, okay? Or you can be all of these. As a project manager, you can be a teacher in an organization. So for organizations requiring digital journey at the onset, meaning at their earliest stage, you can be a teacher, someone who could teach them what are the trends, what are the technologies that we have right now. How are we going to move forward with that? So those are those are what you can do as a teacher. You can teach them, have brown bag sessions, have some e-learning materials shared with everyone in the organization or facilitated by you as a project manager. You can be a teacher. Or you can be a fixer for organizations seeking to boost their delivery efficiency. For example, there are problems in the organization. They're not achieving their specific targets, their specific business needs or KPIs. Then you as a project manager will be a fixer who will help the stakeholders, who will help the organization look for what's the problem, what's the root cause of the problem, what are the real reason why we are having these problems, what are the solutions that we can suggest for them or recommend to them, and then what would be the benefits that we can gain from those solutions. You as a project manager can be a fixer, someone who fixes problems for the organization. And orchestrator for organizations that need improved cross-functional coordination, especially for organizations which have programs that needs to be executed. When we say programs, it's like having different projects for a specific goal. So multi-level projects, if I may say. So you can be an orchestrator to bridge what are the needs of the organization, relate that, and communicate that to the developers, to the ones who will make or build those solutions. So as an orchestrator, you should be able to have those big discussions, meet these people, and come up with the right plan to move the team forward. So right now, I've during the early years of my work, I've been a teacher. During my manufacturing industry time, I've as a project manager, I've become a teacher. I've been part of training center, and I've been teaching um what do you call this, operators, supervisors, technicians, maintenance people, managers and above on what is the specific trends, what are the new methodologies that they can adopt, or what are the new what do you call this, frameworks that can be utilized, how to do things or whatnot. So I've become a teacher. But as I grow mature in the organization as a project manager, um, during the latter part of my years in the manufacturing industry, I've become a fixer. I've been, uh, you know, solving problems for the organization. People are coming to me, Miss Casey, I have some problem in my production engineering process. I have some problem with my procurement department or manufacturing department or engineering department. And they always tell me, what are we going to do? How are we going to um, solve this one? In a way, that would be a teacher fixer role because I don't actually fix the problem, but I help them navigate and explore possibilities on how to specifically solve those problems. So in a way, I'm a teacher slash fixer during that time. And when I switched to the service industry, I became an orchestrator. And until now, I'm an orchestrator slash fixer still. And if you look at it, maybe all of those three, because I have to build the team coming from different departments cross-functionally, and then get some external resource as well, and then talk to the clients as well, have them meet in a specific call, get the requirements, get the scope, what are the needs, and then, you know, control the discussion so that nobody would fight, right? So I'll orchestrate the discussions, and then if something comes up and there will be a barrier or roadblock for us to move forward, I then become a fixer, then recommend some solutions, and then those people will implement or execute those solutions, and then I teach them this is how we should do it, this is how we should organize our discussions, etc., etc. So now, looking at these three project manager role, if you want to become a project manager of the future, think, okay, think. As a project manager, being a teacher, being a fixer, being an orchestrator, what do we need to have? Earlier, I've shown you some technical sales, right? But in here, to really perform your role as a project manager, whether you're a teacher, fixer, and orchestrator, of course, um, technical skills are required. But more than that, it would always require your soft skills. What would that be? Being a collaborative leader, knowing how to talk to people, how to bridge the gap between different perspectives, different wavelengths, different communication styles, and, you know, bring the message across, articulate the message to these people so that no misunderstanding would occur. That's the primary role of a project manager. And, you know, according to Mark A. Langley, the Project Management Institute President and CEO, project leaders are becoming even more essential. So if we are important, if we are significant in the previous years, as technology moves forward now, that we're gearing towards having disruptive technology, globalized economy, generational workforce shift, the war for talent and whatnot, we are becoming even more important, even more essential. Because now organizations recognize that strategy is implemented through projects and programs. And who will lead those projects and programs? Us, project managers. And with the disruptive technology, it will free those organizations from mundane routines, providing more opportunity to innovate. So problems about implementing projects and programs, let's take that off the hand of the top management for them to focus more on those opportunity to innovate, right? So those are our specific roles. I hope that gave you at least a glimpse of what a project manager of the future should be. Should you have any questions or anything you want to clarify? I'm open for it. Thank you,
All
everyone.
right. Thank you, Engineer Casey, for that high impacting delivery of your material on knowing who is the project manager of the future. So I'm gonna be joining you on the screen. So people are now seeing the two of us on the screen, and all right. So, and I'll be sharing also the deck for Q&A because this is now the right time to um get those questions answered. So if you have like questions that you would want to ask Engineer Casey about project management, this would be the best time to do it. So any questions coming from our audience? So we have here about 99 participants in the Zoom room. So it's quite some time that we had full blast on our Zoom room, and we have about 6 or 7 people joining via our YouTube channel. So if you have like questions that you would want to answer, this is the best time to do it. I think we also have participants coming from outside the country. So thank you for joining us. Okay. So probably I'll take the first question to I will ask the first question. So from what you've been through in terms of your experience, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were not really like a project manager or a project engineer at start, right?
Yeah, I'm not.
Correct. So because I want to highlight that because like for example in the Pinoy IE group, the officialist group of Pinoy or Filipino industrial engineers that we also manage with about 16,000 members. There's like an ongoing trend of discussion about people shifting to new careers this new year, and like they're like really looking into shifting from the manufacturing going to the service. So but well, that's their take about it. We have our personal takes on career development and whatnot, but what I want to point out is that as far as I can remember, that's why I want to validate with you. You did not start your career as a project engineer or project analyst or project manager, but it's something that you do. Project management is something that you do ever since you start your career, right?
Yes.
Right. So
It's not a
what
specific role per
correct.
se.
So it doesn't have to be a specific role wherein, for example, oh, for example, for my case, oh, I haven't been an industrial engineer by title, but I'm applying industrial engineering principles from the moment I started working in the industry. So um but that doesn't, you know, devalue me as an industrial engineering practitioner. So it's not really about the title. When, for example, you're here now, you're hearing, oh, this is like these are also things that I'm doing right now. So it's just a matter of like say for example, if you want to shift, you're now a manufacturing engineer, and you would want to shift to, let's say, doing project management or being a project manager, you just have to highlight in your profile what project management activities or roles have you taken into before you applying to this particular position. It doesn't really have to be like you're a project manager and then you would want
Correct.
to apply for a project management role. So I think that's one thing that
Actually,
I want to highlight also.
correct. Thank you, Sir Lex, for detailing that. Because actually, if you really wanted to have a role as a project manager and you're in the manufacturing industry right now, you don't need to really shift, right? Because when one way or another, if you are an employee, for example, if you're an IE right now, or whatever course you've been to, if you're handling a specific role, there are specific tasks that are given to you that needs to be completed in one way or another. There are specific timeline, there's specific deliverable that you need to execute, right? Going through that process of identifying how are we going to go from point A to point B until the end of that specific task and delivering that task, that's already project management. So, um, if you look at it in a way, there's no course really, like bachelor course or whatnot for project management, right? But it is a skill that you really develop as you mature in the organization. But of course, right now, we're really privileged that there are fundamental skills available for us to take, right? And available for us to take to reinforce what we currently have. Because in a way, it's just really solving problems. Being a project manager, having the essential handles of a project manager are really reinforcing your decision-making skills through a systematic way. That's why there are different approaches of implementing and doing project management.
All right. Totally agree on that one. We have a phone question from Miss Gemma Dizon about would you share what are those steps or requirements that she should take to become a project manager? Maybe it's more of like a reinforcement of what you also mentioned during your talk. So maybe you could take on this one, Engineer Casey.
Mm-mm. So, what are those steps or requirements I should take to become a project manager? It really depends on which organization you wanted to be part of. If you're from manufacturing industry or you wanted to go to the service industry, but generally, you need to have that basic foundation, that solid footing of the project management process, right? If you're gearing towards, well, we have the project management book of knowledge, initiating, planning, executing, controlling, and monitoring. At least you should have the basic uh, learning, knowledge on that project management fundamental process. Then another thing would be Lean Six Sigma background as well, because as I've mentioned earlier, a project manager is a teacher, fixer, and orchestrator role. So to be a fixer, you should be able to know how to solve problems or at least how to facilitate discussions from getting the baseline of the data, whether confirming whether we have a problem or not, getting those data analyzed and understand what's the real reason or what's the real root cause of the problem, and then going through identifying what are the tools and techniques to provide or suggest solutions, then a Lean Six Sigma methodology is a good thing to take as well. So one, the project management fundamentals, two, the Lean Six Sigma learning as well. And of course, how will you be an orchestrator? You have to learn how to talk to different people. So you need to have like leadership skills. Not not because you will become a leader per se, but because you need you need to learn how to communicate with different people and send the message across. So the third would be um upskilling your communication skills, whether that would be written or verbal communication skills. And of course, your leadership skills. So those are the three that I guess everyone should take to become a project manager. Right now, if you want to go to a more formal training, There are project management fundamental certification courses, or we have PMP, project management principle trainings and certifications. You can take those if you wanted.
All right. So, uh, uh, Gemma expresses her gratitude in the chat box for answering that question. So yeah, it's really a matter of again practicing skills. And as young as college student, we always tell during our master classes for project management that the project management skill, these projects that are being given to you by the faculty members of your school, of your course or your program, this doesn't just require you to complete the project, but for you to gain the necessary project management skill. So if you're a student here, that's actually not something new to you. So it's not something new to you, right?
Yeah,
So
thesis and feasibility studies, right? Those are
yes, yes.
projects.
Yes, yes, of course. All of those projects would, would culminate in a way that, oh, this is how I like handled our feasibility capstone project when we were still in college. So if you're given the chance to take leadership on those kind of projects, or even social civic like involvement, and then you do projects, that's this actually will add up to your professional project management practice. So just to reinforce, we have Project Management Institute as one of the leading project management organization, and they do offer project management professional certification. So there's a like we call it the PMBOK, or the Project Management Body of Knowledge. So you can actually download it over the internet, and you can check also the competencies and the areas that you need to work on if you really want to do project management. So that's like the I would say the reference that is being used. Also for programs like, for example, as Lex is doing, it's actually aligned with the project management body of knowledge as well. And then we have another question here from Daryl Acosta. Um, in the manufacturing company, what core skills do you think we need to learn and develop to be an to be an efficient project manager?
Okay, if you're in a manufacturing company, as I always say, it's not a, it's not a one
Size
size
fits
fits
all.
all solution, right? Because it really depends. If you're on the food industry, if you're in a hospital, healthcare industry, automotive, semiconductor, it would differ. But just look at it as this way. There are data that needs to be taken care of. Okay? So the first thing that you need to know is, how am I going to read and organize those data? So that's the data visualization, data collection, data analysis, and data interpretation. Those are the core skills that you actually really need to start with when you want to become an efficient project manager. Right now, in my role, I'm quite well matured in a way because of my experiences. I have someone to do it for me, like, you know, data analyst or whatnot. But as a project manager, you need to know, what does the data tell me? And after understanding that, okay, so you have the data knowledge. The second would be your statistical knowledge, not really necessarily identifying it in a more technical way, but is my data positive or negative? Is it good or is it bad? If it's bad, how am I going to identify the reason why these data are bad? So maybe go through a root cause analysis tool, Fishbone, YY, or whatnot, or some softwares that are available right now to do that for us. RCA, okay? And of course, problem solving. What are the tools and techniques that you can utilize to really come up with a solution? So there are several tools like the basic 5S, housekeeping discipline, mistake proofing, visual management and control, design thinking analysis, and whatnot. those things that I've mentioned are just the fundamentals, the basics that you can you know, identify or you can prepare for and develop to be an efficient project manager. Because no matter where you are, it will always be having a systematic way of identifying the problem through data gathering, identifying the solution through understanding first the root cause, and then in the end, solving for the problem by providing the appropriate solution. So if we know those three things, it's really easy for us to identify what are the skill sets that we really need to have those three things fulfilled to become a project manager. One thing as well, I guess, since project requires specific time for us to deliver, it would be good for you to have, time management in all of your project managing activities. Because every time we extend our due date or extend the project schedule, it will require cost for the organization. Resources, if it's a software development, licensing, API development, and whatnot. If it's about um, a manufacturing initiative like improvement, optimization, maximization, then, the more time we stay for a specific problem to be solved, you know, it entails cost for the organization. So time management is a core skill, I guess, for us to be able to address and become an efficient project manager.
All right. Thank you, Engineer Casey, for that great answer. And yeah, I just want to reinforce a little bit because when you talk about project management, there are so many other functional areas. It comes with human resource management. It comes with quality management. It comes with communication management. It comes with stakeholder management. It comes with contract and pricing, negotiation. So it's really like a diverse like skill set where there are connections with other skill set. So it's really a matter of like putting a structure on how you deliver your project from the first phase to the last phase, because there are different project management approaches and methodologies that were mentioned also during Engineer Casey's talk. And just to also, for those who are not really into project management yet, so there are like courses that you can take. Actually, Engineer Casey has an agile introduction course in the library that we have at alpha aslexpage.com/courses. And there are also other like approaches like project management using waterfall by engineer Nel Peñamante and some other mentors in the platform, because you have to understand first the basic. This is not really covering the basics. So if you're really new to that, there are a lot of courses that we could offer that you could take for free in the platform. That having said, you also have to understand that when you triangle, which talks about the cost, scope, and time, which is basically what you manage really across a project. So it's really like whatever approach that may be, that's basically what you manage: the time, the scope, and the cost of doing the project. Okay. Yeah, and we have, I think we can accommodate maybe two more questions with, uh with the time given. All right, so this one is from Ameline Castro, Engineer Casey. In the context of the growing influence of AI and machine learning, how can project managers adopt and leverage these technologies to enhance their capabilities and success of their projects?
Okay. So I did not include it in my deck, but it's part of that in-depth research on the influence of AI and machine learning. So those things can help us facilitate discussion with our um, stakeholders. Okay? It will help, for example, chatbot. Okay, the generative AI chatbot. When stakeholders ask something, it will give us a response based on the training that we've provided to them. But as project managers, we can leverage these technologies um, through, identifying what really are, the needs of the stakeholders. We can help, okay, we can help design those technologies. Kasi like right now, one of my project is uh, creating or building a generative AI for employees who ask questions about HR. Like for example, what are my benefits? What are my how many leaves do I have left, or what is the policy for this and that, etc., etc. So as project manager in developing that initiative, the real task that we're doing is identifying what are the top drivers that our people are asking to HR. And those questions, those are the ones that we collect and we build in to those generative AI generative AI product, like specifically generative AI chatbot, to be able to teach them, teach the AI on how to respond to um those questions from our people. So still, even if we have AI and machine learning that we can develop and we can teach, as I mentioned earlier, as project managers, we still need to collect data. The data collection, preparation, orchestrating um, all of those requirements from stakeholders to developers are where project managers need to really work on. If I understood your question correctly.
All right, thank you, Engineer Casey. I guess also if I may add, there are a lot of platform softwares that are being used now for project management, and I think some of them really integrate some sort of like AI and machine learning because that's really the way forward, right? So I guess like for example, having advanced notifications of like there's a possibility of this project being delayed because of these activities not moving based on the platform or like the tracking of task and project items, etc., etc. So probably those are like the use cases that we're looking at in terms of enhancing the capabilities of project managers, like for like real-time decision making, and whatnot. Again, it will go back to data because AI and machine learning are really data dependent as well. So I think that's pretty much um
There's one thing
the
I can
use cases.
there's one thing I can also share. There's a work management tool called Monday.com that
Mm-hmm.
people can really use. Um, it's similar with MS Project, but the one good thing about this is not just about the UI, because the UI is really um, Gen Z designed, but it's also really what they call this, user friendly. If you add some project schedules in there and then assign people for those different tasks, you can automate the notifications. You can automate the um what they call this, the task completion activity using that Monday.com. And it's really useful. We're actually looking at having a license for this Monday.com because I think this will really help us um, succeed in having efficient projects. There's also Rike. If you're utilizing MS Teams, there is Rike and there is a Task Planner. So if you're using MS Teams, the Task Planner is available for us to, really effectively manage our project. It will help you assign tasks. Same with Monday.com. Although it wouldn't provide automatic notification like you're already delayed by this much, or if someone hasn't completed a specific activity yet, then it will send not just a notification but an alarm that tells us, okay, it has been delayed for X number of days. Communicate with this person, or it will automatically escalate to the next in line with Monday.com, unlike Task Planner. So yeah, those are some things that you can utilize.
That's actually great that you pointed that out since we're talking about project management of the future. And I guess one skill set that would really matter for a project management of the future is his or her ability to navigate through these digital tools so that he or she can do his or her work smarter and better, not harder, right? So the
Correct.
cliche. Okay. Working smarter, not harder because we have the tools. We because of the time that we have, there are you might want to connect with Engineer Casey via LinkedIn. I was able to share the link to her profile in our chat box, and because you are very participative and active, we will be giving away a free project management fundamental certification for those who will participate in our mini challenge. All you have to do is take a screenshot of yourself attending this session, joining this session, a great session with Engineer Casey about project management of the future. Use the hashtag significantly better with Alpha TV. Let me do that again in the chat box, and of course, to be fair, I'll be sending also the same instructions in our YouTube channel, but unfortunately we cannot okay, so we cannot give the entire text because of the text limit. And there are also questions pertaining to change management. I guess we cannot cover it for now, but feel free to send a message to Engineer Casey via LinkedIn. She will be much willing to assist you. And again, there are other courses that you can take under her name in our platform. So please check that one out. And yeah, I guess that's the only time that we have for tonight, unfortunately. So again, thank you, Engineer Casey, for gracing our Alpha TV second episode for 2024. And please send your well wishes and expression of gratitude to Engineer Casey via our chat box. And don't forget to connect with her via her LinkedIn page and take her courses on Alpha TV, on Alpha Digital. Engineer Casey, anything that you would want to invite people? You have a YouTube channel. I know. I don't know if that's still up, but anything that you would want to plug or promote.
I just would, well, as part of ASLEX PH Academy, we have several courses, free or paid, available in our learning management system. You can always go there, just register, create your own account, and navigate through all of those courses because in one way or another, upskilling will always be positive for everyone. And as a project manager, we need those skills, especially those as mentioned by Sir Felix earlier, related to project management and data, visualization, data collection. Those would be really significant for you to move forward if you're planning a career as a project manager. And of course, three things: your communication and leadership skills, your data skills, and of course, your problem solving skills. Those three things, wherever you go, whatever industry you'll be, if you're aiming to become a project manager, or if your task right now, if your role right now requires you to start or complete a project, then look at those three things, remember those three things, and reinforce your knowledge about those three things. If you see If you can baseline right now and you ask yourself, do I have the right communication skills and collaboration skills right now? Do I have enough and sufficient data knowledge right now? And do I have appropriate problem solving skills right now to really become a project manager? If your answer is no or maybe, then maybe it's time for you to really upskill and reinforce those knowledge that you have. That's all. And thank you for giving your time today to listen to this specific session. I hope you learned a thing or two.
Wow, we really learned a lot from you, Engineer Casey. And again, this is like you were able to fill in all the seats at Zoom, and there are other people in the YouTube channel, and because the topic is really good, and people are really appreciative of your session for tonight. Again, thank you, Engineer Casey, and please don't go away because we will be giving away the instructions on how to get your e-certificate for tonight's Alpha TV session. Thank you, Engineer. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sir Alex. See you tomorrow. Yeah.
All right. So, thank you everyone for participating, and we would like to extend our expression of gratitude to our partners, IXLCA Review Center, TUOS, and Startup Podcast PH. And please don't forget to follow us in our social media platforms. We're here at Facebook, at Instagram, at LinkedIn, at X, and even at our YouTube channel. We're needing to meet 5,000 subscribers. So please support us. And again, as mentioned, there are a lot of online courses that you can take in our platform. And some of them are free, some of them are paid. We have the Lean Six Sigma Yellow Belt, we have the Project Management Fundamental Certification, and then soon enough we're gonna have um the Certified Project Manager course. So please stay tuned for that. We have our Lean Six Sigma Green Belt, our Certified Kaizen Professional, our Certified Data Analyst, and our Lean Six Sigma Black Belt program. So all of this you can check on our official Facebook page. We also have a bunch of about 100 plus free courses that you can take with provision of e-certificate and alpha coins. Alpha coins, once you accumulate these alpha coins in our platform, you can actually use that to buy premium courses. So you can check all of these courses via aslexspeech.com. It's free to create an account. So go over aslexspeech.com/courses to know more about this listing. We are also offering group promo. So we have join as a group of 5 and pay only for 4. And if you want to take buy train now, pay later via Belize, you can actually do that. Just visit Belize or your Belize app and inquire via our Facebook page to know more about this. And for those professionals who would want to contribute to the lifelong learning movement here in the Philippines, as the XPH Academy embraces being one of the leading lifelong learning providers here in the Philippines, aligned with UNESCO Institute of Lifelong Learning mandates and the UN SDG goals, we invite you to join us in our project Eskwela One. This is Create Your Own E-Learning Course Challenge 2024. So we will be having an info session on January 31, 7 p.m. So there are perks awaiting our mentors. All you have to do is to contribute your experience and expertise via a 1-hour e-learning course. You just have like to video some sort of like what we did for the webinar, but you will be the mentor. We will curate it and put it in our LMS, and then fellow Filipino lifelong learners will benefit from it. We were able to help more than 25,000 people through this particular series of projects. So we are looking into building our course list from 100 to even to double it or even 500 as an audacious goal for this year. So please help us to to advance lifelong learning here in the Philippines, especially for those professionals in the session. So again, there will be an info session. I'll be joined by Engineer Mike Glean as our LMS head to talk about how you can contribute your expertise to the Filipino lifelong learners. So we're looking for partners and we're looking for ambassadors. So if you want to join in, please let us know. There is also this Facebook group called Aslex Page Academy Alumni Network Facebook page or Facebook group. Please join so that you can get ahead of the like free access to whatever we are doing related to lifelong learning and professional development. So again, this is how you can get your e-certificate. Give us at least a week or two to process it. All you have to do is to scan this QR code. I'll be sending a copy of the link where you can do the evaluation. Don't forget to follow the instructions. All you need to provide is basically your details. Make sure that that's complete. You have not you you are not required to fill in the entire middle name, only your middle initial. Make sure that your email address is correct, and then we will distribute the e-certificate via email in the next 1 or 2 weeks. Just give us a little bit of time, but it's just the worst case. Sometimes we can do this in the next 2 3 days. Okay, right? So the link will be closed after 30 minutes. So if you really attended the session, please make sure that you have completed the form. So again, with that, maraming salamat po. Thank you everyone. Let's continue to be #significantly better through accessible and sustainable lifelong learning together. We will announce the winner of the free access to our project management fundamental certification e-learning course within this week or within this weekend. Okay, thank you and see you next Friday on another Alpha TV episode. Bye!